continues to slip south across the UK for the rest of this week. But as well as being dry, it's also cloudier today. You can see the extent of the cloud, particularly in the north and the east on the satellite picture. The best of the sunshine across Wales and the southwest, which is actually where we've got the highest levels of pollen, tree pollen sufferers at the moment, having those high levels to contend with in the south and the west. Well, plenty of sunshine as well here in Coed Poeth in Wrexham. Further north though, rather more cloud across North Yorkshire, as you can see. And in fact, the cloud does look quite menacing. It's producing a few showers. They're not numerous, but they are popping up and down across the Pennines up into southern and central parts of Scotland, 1 or 2 in the southeast of Northern Ireland. They could pop up just about anywhere, but you'll be very unlucky if you catch more than one. So for the rest of the afternoon, the cloud tends to increase across England and Wales, perhaps breaks a little bit more in the north, but temperatures are several degrees down on those of yesterday, so it does feel chilly out there, or certainly cooler if you're under the cloud and in the breeze. Now that breeze starts to come down from the north overnight, dragging in more cloud, so limiting the frost somewhat across the north of Scotland, but elsewhere, like last night where we keep the skies clear, it will be chilly again. We could have a touch of frost, certainly ground frost, but it means the best of the sunshine will again be in the morning, and we should see more for Northern Ireland tomorrow. Again, western areas and southern areas seeing the best of the morning sunshine, but I do think we'll see a general increase in cloud tomorrow as the day goes on. And temperatures again struggling just because of that breeze coming down from the north or the northeast, only 9s and 10s on the east coast. And then through tomorrow night and Wednesday we do it all again, but because that high pressure is slipping southwards, it will be trapping our cloud underneath it. The winds are falling light away from the south coast, so there's nothing to blow the cloud away either. So I think Wednesday again looks as if it'll be on the cool side for most of us, with more limited sunshine even in southern and western areas by that stage. But the high pressure does keep things mostly dry, as you can see. Keen breeze coming across in the south still, but for most of us it's the same story, that of dry and settled weather right until the end of the working week, if not beyond, Clive.
All right, Helen, thank you for that. Helen Willis there. And a reminder of our top story this lunchtime. Emmanuel Macron wins a second term as French president, vowing to unite a divided country. That's it from me and the team, so goodbye now on BBC One. Time for the news where you are. Have a very good afternoon.
The headlines on Reporting Scotland this Monday lunchtime. As energy costs rise, we hear about the additional struggles faced by disabled people. And defence lawyers say they'll boycott hundreds of domestic abuse cases in a row over legal aid fees. Hello there, good afternoon. The cost of living is going up for all of us. According to the Office of National Statistics, nearly a quarter of adults are finding it difficult or very difficult to pay their household bills. But charities say some people are being affected far more than others. Carers, disabled people and those with long-term health conditions face a particular struggle to keep their houses warm, eat and run specialist equipment in order to maintain their health. Our reporter Ian Hamilton met 3 people who face these choices.
All of us are trying to find ways of cutting our energy costs.
Here we have my home dialysis setup. There's a water purification unit, and this is the actual dialyzer machine.
But for people like George Cook, there's only so many things to cut back on. The charity Kidney Care UK says even before the current price increases, people on home dialysis were paying between £500 and £1,500 a year extra.
George, what kind of economic pressure could people on dialysis be under with increasing costs?
Well, it could make a difference between either eating, heating or staying alive.
A little smart meter here, and it shows you gas and electricity. My career path was not to be disabled living on benefits. That's the last place I thought I would be.
Many disabled people like Lynn Pinfield, who has a range of disabilities, including MS, live in fear of what's to come. According to Citizens Advice Scotland, 42% of households in poverty include a disabled person.
Normally I pay fortnightly, and the amount I pay fortnightly I will now have to pay weekly.
Ah, that's the pilot. Very good.
Alison Mallet is disabled herself But she's also a full-time unpaid carer for her son, who has a range of complex disabilities.
I was having to choose between heat for my kids and food for my kid.
As part of a survey, Carer Scotland found that 87% of unpaid carers worry that they won't be able to keep their homes warm enough for their needs.
It's kind of like being in a hole that you can't get out of.
Many disabled people and unpaid carers are on a low fixed income and with welfare benefits struggling to cover essential living costs. Many feel trapped with few options. Ian Hamilton, reporting Scotland.
And we'll have more on this, along with advice for people in similar situations, on Reporting Scotland tonight. Now elsewhere, a Scottish Government minister has told an embezzlement trial that former MP Natalie McGarry came to his office in a state of distress. Health Secretary Humza Yousaf said he loaned Miss McGarry £600 as she told him she would be evicted if she didn't pay. Natalie McGarry denies embezzling more than £25,000 from two pro-independence campaign groups between 2013 and 2015. Katrina Renton was in court and joins us now. Katrina.
Well, Sarah, the trial here is now entering its fourth week. This morning, Cabinet Secretary for Health Humza Yousaf gave evidence. Now, he said Natalie McGarry came to his constituency office in central Glasgow in February 2014. He'd previously told police that Ms McGarry was in quite an emotional state and visibly upset when she arrived. Mr Yousaf told the court that he spoke to Ms McGarry and she told him that if she didn't come up with around £600, she was being threatened with eviction. Mr Yousaf said that he went across the road to the bank and the court was shown Ms McGarry's bank statements. £600 was transferred from Mr Yousaf into Ms McGarry's account in February 2014 and £600 was transferred from Ms McGarry's account to Mr Yousaf in April 2014. Asked if there was any discussion about the source of funds that were used to pay him back, Mr Yousaf replied no. Mr Yousaf agreed that he told police that at times Ms McGarry could be disorganised and overdramatic. Asked if he said that he wouldn't have said she was someone who was always in need of money, Mr Yousaf replied yes. Natalie McGarry denies all of the charges against her. The trial here at Glasgow Sheriff Court continues this afternoon.
Katrina, thank you. Scottish defence lawyers are planning a boycott of new cases brought under a groundbreaking law against domestic abuse. The boycott will begin next month and could hold up hundreds of cases. The Scottish Solicitors Bar Association is taking the action as part of a long-running dispute with the Scottish Government over legal aid fees. Our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan reports.
I felt like I was going mad. No one else could see what was going on.
This training video explains groundbreaking legislation which came into force 3 years ago.
Coercive control is a pattern of deliberate abuse, over time leaving the victim intimidated, dependent and isolated.
Section 1 of the Domestic Abuse Scotland Act criminalised engaging in a course of abusive behaviour that involves physical or psychological harm. Hundreds of people are being charged under the law. Last week, Paisley Sheriff Court dealt with a man who'd left raw fish and abusive messages at his former partner's home. But defence lawyers say the cases are complex, time-consuming and, under the fixed fees they receive for legal aid work, uneconomical.
We fully appreciate that this is going to have an impact on potential victims, as well as other witnesses and the accused people themselves. The vast majority of faculties across Scotland have signed up to this boycott because we really feel that the profession is in crisis.
Starting next month, solicitors will boycott summary Section 1 cases, which can result in sentences of up to 12 months. It's their latest action in a long-running dispute with the government over legal aid fees.
I think you can always look back and say, things should have been done differently. What I can say is that since I've been in post, I've given consistent fee rate rises. I have listened to what the profession have said. This is a serious escalation. There are real victims, that are going to be impacted by this. So I want to send out that message that the government is willing to carry on talking to see if we can find a resolution to this.
Under the boycott, people facing Section 1 charges will have great difficulty finding a lawyer, adding more delays in a system already facing a huge backlog of cases.
Witness attrition is going through the roof, right? Women are walking away from cases. They will be walking away from calling the police also, unless they are absolutely desperate. This delay is very dangerous.
The Scottish Government says it's committed to reforming legal aid, but this boycott raises the stakes in a dispute that will be hard to resolve. David Cowan reporting Scotland.
And now Gillian Smart takes a look at the weather forecast.
Good afternoon to you. Lots of dry weather coming our way through this week. Perhaps not as much sunshine as we had over the weekend. We'll have large areas of cloud moving in at times. But this area of high pressure centred over Iceland is the one that will dominate through this week, keeping us largely dry and settled. And that's the picture this afternoon. We have a scattering of showers out of that cloud, which is quite thick in places. But I think it will thin and break, allowing some spells of sunshine to come through. A wee bit cooler than yesterday, 12 Celsius at best, and feeling particularly cool for the Northern Isles and around North Sea coasts, with quite a brisk north to northeasterly breeze coming in off the sea. Tonight we'll continue to bring in plenty of cloud on those north to northeasterly winds, and again there will be some light and patchy rain and drizzle, especially in the northeast. The clearest skies will be across western and southern Scotland. There could be just a touch of frost for parts of Dumfries and Galloway and the western borders overnight. And as we start the day tomorrow, and it's a similar story, again the emphasis on lots of dry weather but large areas of cloud, a wee bit of patchy rain, especially during the morning, a bit more scope for brightness in the afternoon, I think. And temperatures much like today, 12 or 13 Celsius, about the best we'll see. Cooler around those North Sea coasts. Into Wednesday, high pressure settles right across us, and it means we'll lose that breeze. So light winds for the most part on Wednesday. Again, it's largely dry, just the odd patch of drizzle, but plenty of cloud around. That's the forecast.
And that's all for now. From everyone on the Lunchtime team, thank you for joining us and have a lovely afternoon. Bye-bye.
For highlights of all the latest SWPL fixtures, watch Sports Scene on the BBC Scotland channel tonight at 7.
Celebrities, are you ready for your next freezing challenge?
You'll be entering what can only be described as a bone-chilling snowstorm.
He's got it!
Oh.
Even quick!
Slow it down, son!
Why left?
Freeze the Fear with Wim Hof continues tomorrow at 9 on BBC One and iPlayer.
Sea Devil. Madam Ching! Pirate Queen!
Where's the crew?